Hi everyone. In this video, we will discuss all the type 3 questions from chapter 3 of class 12, that is computer science with Python. This chapter is working with function. Let's begin working with functions. Here we'll provide all the solutions for type C questions from question number 1 to 9 with the explanations of the codes. Let's begin with the first program. This program ask for a function that will take $1 amount and it will convert it into rupees, and we have to define the function in two ways. First in a void form, next one is a non-void form. As we know, non-void form is the return has to return something, return statement must be there in the function and it has to return something, and void functions don't have return statement, they don't return anything. So let's begin. First, we'll start with the non-void form of the function. Non-void functions return the computed value using return statement, and the function is called inside an expression. Here, the returned value of function $to, that is the function name, is assigned to rupees variable. Okay, now let's start with void function. This is how it is. That means it doesn't have any return statement. Void functions don't return any value. They may or may not have return statement, and the function call is standalone. Here the function $to is not called inside any expression. So that means it is standalone. You can call it directly. Now let's see. Now if you run the program, it will ask for an amount in dollars. Let's say we have put 75 and it will convert it into rupees by doing the calculations, and the output is the amount in rupees is 5347.5. Now let's proceed with the second program. Here you have to write a function that will calculate the volume of a box with appropriate default values for its parameters, and it will take the parameters as length, width and height. Let's see. We have defined a function called volume. Here we have passed the parameters length, width, and height with some default values. Let's say length is 12, width is 15, and height is 10. And if you run the program, while calling the volume function, we have not passed any values. So it will take the default values. And the output is showing like this. Volume of the box is 1800 cubic centimeter. Now let's run the same program. But while calling the function, we have provided some values like 20, 15 and 5. So what will happen? It will not take the default values, rather it will take the values which have been passed while the function is called. And the output is like this. Volume of the box is 1500 cubic centimeter. Let's begin with the third program. Here we have to define a function that will take a number as an argument and it will calculate the cube of the number. And if we don't provide any value, then it will calculate cube of 2. And one more function also we have to define, which will take two character arguments and returns true if both the arguments are equal or not. Let's see. We have defined the first function q. Here we have taken one parameter as num, which is having a default value that is 2. Now we have raised it to the power 3 to find out the cube. And one more function also we are defined, that is check, which will take two character arguments and it will check whether both the characters are same or not. If they are same, then it will return true, otherwise false. Now while calling the functions, the first function check, here we have provided two characters which are different from each other. Let's see what it prints, and again we have called the cube method where we have passed the value as 3, and let's see the output. When you run the program, for first print statement it is printing false. Why? Because the two characters entered are not equal, not same, so it is returning false. And cube of 3 is 27. Now the same program we have modified a little bit. While calling the check function, here we have passed two characters which are same, and the cube function here it is called without any argument. So by default it should take argument as 2. Let's see the output. Yes, it is written printing true because the two characters entered here are same, and it is also printing the cube of 2, that is cube is 8. Now the next program is we have to write a function which will take two parameters or the range of numbers, and from that we have to find out the random number. And by using that function we have to print three random numbers. Now to generate random numbers we have to import a module called random, which is available in Python library. We can use the function randint, which is available in random module. This randint function takes two values as parameters, let's say a and b, and it will generate a random number within the range a and b. Here we have defined a function called generate having two parameters n1 and n2. This function returns a random number between n1 and n2. We have called the function three times to get three different random numbers. Okay, now let's run it. Here we have passed the lower limit as 3 and the upper limit as 189. Okay, and let's see the three random numbers generated are 13, 185 and 72. These three numbers are within that range. Now here this function receives two string arguments and checks whether they are of same length or not. If they are same, it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So for that we have defined a function called check and we have passed two parameters s1 and s2. Then within that it will check if length of s1 is same as length of s2 or not. If they are same, then it will return true, otherwise it will return false. Now we have called the function check by passing two strings, that is Python and Java. Now let's see what it's giving the output. As you know, these two strings are of different length, so the output is false. Now in this program, we have to define a function named nth root that will receive two parameters x and n and return the nth root of x, that is x to the power 1 by n. Here the default value of n is 2. Now let's do this. We have defined a function nth root by passing two parameters x and n and by providing default value 2 for n, and it will return x to the power 1 by n. Okay. After calculating the nth root, it will return the value in a rounded form. Otherwise, we will get float values. Now here we have called the function two times. First time nth root is called by passing the arguments 64 and 3. That means we want to check the cube root of 64. And second time we have called the nth root function by passing only one value, that is 81. That is x value is 81 and for n it will take default value, that is 2. Now let's see the output. First it is printing R1 as 4, that is the cube root of 64, that is 4. And second one is 81, that is the square root of 81, that is 9. Now, in this program, we have to write a function that takes a number n and then returns a randomly generated number having exactly n digits. That means if n is 2, then it will return a random number having 2 digits. That means the number should be between 10 to 99. Similarly, if n is 1 digit, n is 1, then it will return a randomly generated 1 digit number. Okay, let's see. As you know, first we have to import the random module to generate random numbers. Now here we have defined one method, one function, gen underscore num, to generate random numbers, and it is accepting, and we have passed n as a parameter. Here n is the number of digits. If n is equal to 1, then random number will be from the range 1 to 9. If n is equal to 10, then random number will be from 10 to 99. Now we have to define a relation between n and the range. The relation is the lower limit is 10 to the power n minus 1 and the upper limit is 10 to the power n minus 1. So if we follow this formula, then if n is equal to 1, then the lower limit becomes 10 to the power 1 minus 1, that is 0. 10 to the power 0 is 1. And the upper limit is 10 to the power 1, that is 10 minus 1, that is 9. Okay, like this it will follow for all the values of n. Now we have called this function 4 times. In the first call, we have passed the n value as 1. That means we want a 1-digit random number. Second time, we pass the n value as 2. That means we want a 2-digit random number and so on. Let's see the output. The 1-digit random number here is generated as 3. The 2-digit random number is 36. 3-digit is 509 and like this. Whatever n value will be there, that many digits random number will be generated. Now in this program, we have to define a function that takes two numbers and returns the number that has the minimum ones digit. For example, if the two numbers passed are 491 and 278, then it will return the value 491. Why? Because it is having the minimum ones digit value. Okay, now let's do this. Let's say we have defined a function called mean underscore digit, and it is taking two parameters n1 and n2. These two numbers, then our first job is to find out the numbers, the digits which are present at the ones place. For that purpose, we have to divide the number with 10 and collect the remainder. So R1 is storing the digit which is present at the ones position of number n1, and R2 stores the ones digit that is present in n2. Now we will check whether R1 is same as R2 or not. If R1 is same as R2, then it will return nothing. Or else it will check whether R1 is less than R2 or not. If R1 is less than R2, then it will return the first number N1. Otherwise, it will return the second number N2. Now we have called this function mean digit by passing two values 234 and 981. Now it will display like this. The output is the number with minimum ones digit is 981. Now this program is to generate a series using a function which takes first and last values of this series and then generates four terms that are equidistant. That is, if two numbers are 1 and 7, then the function should return 1, 3, 5 and 7. Okay, now let's do this one. Here, to create a series of four equidistant numbers, first we have to take the difference of the last and first values. Then divide it with 3. Why? Because there are four numbers, so we have to divide 4 minus 1, 3 to get the step value. The value is the difference between two consecutive numbers of the series. Now add it with the first value to get the next number of the series and so on. Here we have defined a function called series, which accepted two parameters, say n1 and n2. Okay. Now let's say we have passed two values as 1 and 100. 1 is the lower value and 100 is the upper value. We calculated the step value like this by using the formula n2 minus n1 by 3, that is 100 minus 1 by 3. And whatever step value we are getting, that we have stored in a variable s, that will be added to the first number to get the next value and so on. So n1 is the first number of the series, second number is n1 plus s, third number is n1 plus 2s, then the fourth number is n2. Now in this way we will get all the numbers which are equidistant. And since this function is returning multiple values, so it will be stored in a tuple. Now the numbers is the tuple variable which is storing the series of four values. Let's see the output. The equidistant numbers are 1, 34, 67 and 100. Now here ends our chapter 3, all the type C solutions. If there is any doubt, then you can put it in comment section, and stay tuned for more solutions and do subscribe. Thank you.